Hey everyone, it's Neon Polygons, and today I want to do a quick video of what it was like to be a Sega Saturn owner in North America in the spring and summer of 1998. So, as many of you know, and what you see here, this basically is the core four of the Sega Saturn's, I would say, grand finale. In 1998, pretty much the system was dead at that point. The only releases that were coming out were first party releases from Sega themselves, with the exception of Magic Knight Ray Earth, which would be coming out from Working Designs at the end of the year as kind of a where the heck did this come from game. Uh, but aside from that, 1998 would kind of be in my opinion, the greatest year of the Sega Saturn, and it's only just because the games that came out during it were, in my opinion, its best. I actually got each of these games either on the release date or fairly close to the release period. And unlike many collectors now who have to pay hundreds for these games, I paid just normal retail price for them on their original release dates. So this kind of all kicked off for me because I wanted to go get House of the Dead for the Sega Saturn. And I know when this game first came out, it more or less just had terrible reviews. I'll never forget GamePro magazine giving this game like 1.0, 2.0, 0.5. They gave it basically the lowest score on its rating score or scoring poll. But to me, I was such a huge fan of the arcade game that I just had to get this title. And upon playing it, I realized that yeah, the graphics were terrible. The pixels were just like the size of grapefruits, but the gameplay was just it was still arcade perfect to me. It was fast, it was smooth. The music sounded great in it. The sound effects sounded great in it. It still had the arcade feel, but it just didn't have the arcade graphics. And knowing the power of the Sega Saturn, I think that was understandable. And to me, I will never forget getting this game because I had some great memories playing it with my sister, and to be bluntly honest, I had a lot of fun, and I still have fun with this game. And so this really kind of, to me, signaled kind of really what the Sega Saturn could do from just an experience standpoint. Not necessarily from a graphical standpoint that the N64 and PlayStation were able to offer, but at least from a gameplay perspective, I felt the Sega Saturn was able to bring that arcade experience home as best as possible. So the next two games actually that I ended up getting in the core four would be Burning Rangers and Panzer Dragoon Saga. Now, the story behind this is actually quite interesting because originally I only wanted Burning Rangers. And at the time, my mother put in a reservation at Electronics Boutique to go get Burning Rangers, but they actually called her up when Panzer Dragoon Saga came over, and basically they messed up the reservation list. And what they assumed was a reservation for Burning Rangers, they actually called up for the reservation for Panzer Dragoon Saga. So my mother really didn't know, really the difference between Sega Saturn games. All she knew is that when she got there to Electronics Boutique, they had the game available, which she assumed was the game that I wanted, and she picked up Panzer Dragoon Saga. And as you can see here, it's still in mint condition. It's literally, immaculate and perfect. And when I got it, I was surprised. I was like, oh, Panzer Dragoon Saga. I was never intending on getting the game. I was only really wanted Burning Rangers. So as kind of a nice little bonus, not only did I get Panzer Dragoon Saga, but eventually I would end up getting Burning Rangers upon its release date. Now the final game of the Core 4 was Shining Force 3. Now in the summer of 98, that was actually my first job, which I was working in retail. And I'll never forget that the first game I got with my first paycheck was Shining Force 3 from Electronics Boutique, along with a magazine that I remember as Gamer Buyer's Game Guide, or Game Player's Buyer's Guide, or something like that. Essentially, it was the successor to Game Player's magazine, but long story short, would end up getting Shining Force 3. And I will consider that summer of 98 to be one of the best summers of my childhood, of my, maybe teenage years, I would probably say, because I basically was able to get, the grand finale of the Sega Saturn, its best games. I probably would only, hope that maybe Virtual Fighter 3 was going to come out for the Sega Saturn, but it never did. And, I got the Sega Saturn really late in its lifespan. I ended up getting it in the summer of 1997. So I really only had one good year of the Sega Saturn while it was still in, retail production. And I will say, like, after getting these four titles, it changed my perspective on the Sega Saturn, and it probably was, became my favorite system of all time. You know, despite not having many quality games, at or what was considered quality at the time. And, just again, like its short lifespan, and it's not really great graphics in comparison to the PlayStation and N64. To me, 1998 really was an amazing year for the Sega Saturn, especially for when these four titles came out in that late spring, early summer. And, if you look at all these titles right now, they're all in immaculate condition. I'm, kind of surprised at myself that 22 years later, I actually kept them in amazing condition. Like, I had the foresight as a kid to never kind of like, scuff them up or screw around with them. And one of the nice things about these games is that I still feel that they hold up all incredibly well today and have aged better than most people, realize. Especially Panzer Dragoon Saga, especially House of the Dead, and definitely Shining Force 3. Burning Rangers, here and there, but really these three titles, I think they're probably even better now than when I first played them back in 98. There was a period in time when I was actually considering just selling House of the Dead and Burning Rangers, putting them on eBay just because I felt like, like I'm never really going to play these games again. And thank heavens I never did that because, obviously not just because their values have skyrocketed, but also because, looking back at my memories of playing these games, I would really be killing myself right now knowing that I sold them and, losing the memories of having these games and playing them anytime I wanted. So, I'd love to know if you were a Sega Saturn owner and if you had it during the year 1998 and if you got any of these titles upon release date. Love to know kind of like what your experiences were when you first got it. And for me, as I said, I'll never forget that summer of 98, what many people consider what is the greatest year in video games. I consider, specifically special because it was the Sega Saturn's grand finale, and it was probably one of the greatest years, in my opinion, for a quality to quantity ratio for any console. Again, if you kind of look at it on paper, it's basically the Sega Saturn was 4 for 4 in 1998, or at least during that second, third quarter. And yeah, I just wanted to make a quick video on this because it was just really great memories for me. And I hope for those of you who are getting into Sega Saturn collections, you will understand too why so many people really cherish these four titles and why they're worth so much now. And it's not just because of rarity, it is really because people had so many great memories, and they'll attest to how great not just the overall Sega Saturn catalog, but these titles specifically. Anyways, this is Neon Polygons. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. And I guess I'll catch you all again soon.